Jimmy, this is MC
But now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the incredibly talented and beautiful Adrienne Barbeau. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Let me introduce you to everybody. Let me do all the introductions before you start telling your story.
I'm excited.
First,
it's Adrienne Barbeau.
Okay,
one of my favorite people in the world.
So this is my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Who blows smoke up no one's ass. I tell the truth. I love Adrienne Barbeau. I have since Maud. What are you kidding? I grew up with Adrienne.
So that's him. And then we have a chat room, and we literally have a ton of people in the chat room from every country. We have every country represented, Germany, Australia, Canada, I don't know, all over the place. So just say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Anybody there from the Netherlands?
Oh, there will be in a minute, actually, because we have regulars from the Netherlands.
Don't tell me you're Dutch.
No. I just
because
I spent 6 weeks in Amsterdam doing Pippin and just fell in love with it.
Oh, I actually love that.
Well,
I love
because
Amsterdam
what I wrote
too.
about you on my page today was this big thing about, do you want to know about Adrienne Barbeau? And I wrote about you, and you should go on my page, Ron Russell's Show, and read it. You will be so happy and so flattered. I don't think any other reporter has ever written what I wrote, because it came from my heart, and it came with all true honesty and sincerity.
Well, thank you, Ron. I'll read it as soon as we hang up.
No, seriously, I don't bullshit anybody.
So tell your story.
I'm famous for that. My story is, Jane Russell and I were good buddies, and she was my date. And I was talking with Jane Russell and Julie Newmar at Rock Hudson's house, and you walked by. And I said, hello, Adrienne Barbeau, and how are you? And you said, fine, and how are you? And we began to talk. And then I said to you, oh, friends of mine have a nickname for you. And you said, oh, yes, what is it? And I said it. And you said, oh, I figured it would be something like that. And you walked away. So I said to Jane, I said, wow, she's some bitch. And Jane just looked. She said, well, Ron, you shouldn't have said what you said. It wasn't nice. I said, fuck you, Jane. I could say whatever I want. Jane Russell was my best buddy we hung out. We were like brother, sister. So Jane and I used to fight like husband
He's
and wife.
older than he looks.
I'm 80 years old. So anyway, I met you again at the convention center at Palm Springs for the convention. And I went over to you. I figured, let me see if this chick really is a bitch. And I walked over to you and I started talking to you. And you were the sweetest and the nicest girl in the world. And you told me you just wrote 3 books. And we chatted about it. We had a lovely, then Farragut, what's his name? The guy, the green guy, was it Farragamo?
Oh, Lou Ferrigno.
Lou came over. And he started talking and sort of the conversation. And I was with Tony Curtis, and Tony Curtis was making filthy remarks that he always makes. Tony was a pig.
It was fun.
Love Tony Curtis, my dearest friend.
Well,
anyway,
I have to ask you a question, because I just found out from one of my neighbors, when you said you were at Rock Hudson's house.
Right.
Was it in
Palm Springs? Palm Springs, on the circle, on that half a curve.
Oh.
It's only
I walked by.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were at the party. Julie Newmar and Jane Russell and I were standing there, and I stopped you. I have pictures. I don't have pictures of you, but I have pictures of everybody. I guess I didn't like you after what you said. But no, I was also with my dear friend Stella Stevens, who, by the way, folks, pray for. She's got the onset of Alzheimer's. So Stella is one of my dear friends. She was there. And you remember the party. It was in the house that...
she goes to so many parties.
No,
How
wait
she
a minute.
gonna
No,
remember her?
no.
Look at her face.
No, you can't forget this house, because it is now owned by the lover of the late actor, that George... age is a wonderful thing, isn't it? When you lose your mind. George Nader. George Nader's lover now owns Rock Hudson's house. And
I swear to God, Ron, I've never been at a party in Palm Springs.
Adrienne, I'm not lying.
Jackson?
No,
Maybe it was in L.A. Maybe
no, it was in L.A. It was Palm Springs and Adrienne.
He's talking about a long time ago.
I'm going to call Julie Newmar and ask Julie Newmar.
It's quite possible. I mean, I don't remember, but the reason I asked you about Rock Hudson is one of my neighbors. I live in.
No, Rock Hudson had been dead already. He wasn't.
Oh,
dead.
okay. Because I live in Studio City, California, up on a hill on a little mountain, And I was walking the other day, and one of the neighbors, we started talking, and she said, you know, that's
Oh, we got a jam.
that they're remodeling or something. And I've lived here since 1980, and I never knew it was Rock Hudson's house. So I thought maybe that was what you were talking about.
No. It
dogs or
was the
something.
house that Rock
You
used to
find out
own.
for me.
He used to,
Find out more about that for me.
he used to own it in Palm Springs. That's before he passed. And then he James George Nader, you know, remember George Nader, the actor, his lover inherited the house from Rock Hudson because they were very dear friends. But anyway, it happened, trust me. And then also the convention center, I met you. And then I met you one other time in LA at somebody's house, and I don't remember who. But I know that
Okay, so it's my
I
turn.
remember asking you, how'd the books go? And I did. I remember that you had written 3 books, and I said, Adrienne, how'd the books go? And you said, oh, well, still working on something with one and whatever.
Well, let's ask real quick. So how did the books go?
The books went well. I ended up writing a 4th one. The first one was my memoir, There Are Worse Things I Could Do. And after I wrote that one, I was approached by an Irish author who had many, many books in the genre field. And he said to me, you know, you should write a book for your horror fans. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure, not sure I can do that. And he said, I'll help you with it. So we wrote the first one, which is called Vampires of Hollywood.
I love it.
About an Armenian, a 450-year-old Armenian vampire who happens to be a scream queen and who is the leader of a clan of Hollywood A-list actor vampires. Orson Welles, Elvis Presley, Charlie Chaplin. And then I went ahead and wrote the sequel to that one called Love Bites. And then I wrote a 3rd one called Make Me Dead.
I love it.
And then I got busy acting again, and I haven't written anything since. But thank you for asking.
So now in this interview, I found out finally how your books did.
There you go.
Took a long time, Adrienne. Took a long time.
Actually, the memoir made the LA Times bestseller list, which was a real shock to me.
No, it's not. No, it's
awesome.
not. Because in talking to you, I found the little time that we had, I found you were very, very shrewd, smart, and quick to get to the point. You're not one of these that take 2 hours to get to say something. Now, this is going to sound, I'm gay, but I do like women. I was married, so I'm not a gay guy that doesn't appreciate a gorgeous woman with a beautiful body. I must tell you, the first time I saw you in person, it was your eyes that took me.
Oh, thank
You have the most beautiful big brown eyes and those eyebrows. I said to myself, if this bitch doesn't play Salome Cleopatra, I will kill myself. You know, you have such an Arabic Egyptian.
I've got to keep these on so I can see you guys.
No, take them off. Those eyes are too beautiful.
Then I can't see you.
Just for a second, you can put them back.
Too bad for you. Too bad for you. We could see your eyes and we enjoy it.
So
Everyone out there, she has got absolutely the most expressive. They're almond, and they are like a Sophia Loren or an Anna Magnani looking eye. I mean, she has that Melina McCory. She's just not a blonde Swede.
You just mentioned the 3 actresses that I would strive to be. I mean,
you are.
All 3 of them. Anna Magnani. Oh my gosh.
You are.
Well, so I can see you.
You know,
Ron,
wait, I want to say something, then Jimmy can have the floor. Before we went on the air, I said to Jimmy, I really like Adrienne because it turned out in the long run that she's a sweetie pie. Jimmy is producing quite a few movies. And I said, Jim, why don't we consider Adrienne for one of the films? And Jimmy said, yes. So you will be in one of the films, and it's a good film, like $3.5 million, $4 million film. It's not one of the films like I'm in horror movies too, you know, 1 week shoot, $15 budget. You get 200 a day if you're lucky. You know, I don't get those. So this is going to be like a real movie.
You have to read my memoir, Ron. There is one chapter in there about it's called The Rat Movie. And it's about me making a low-budget horror film in Russia on the day that they attempted a coup against the White House. and you know, being out in the middle of the forest at Catherine the Great's castle, using pieces of Pravda for toilet paper because you'll love it. If you're used to low,
you know what? Send me a copy, but it must be signed by you because I have a stack of books on my coffee table by all the famous people that I love so much. I'm not kidding you. You know, listen, I've interviewed over nine. I will. You will. I'm going to give you the rest of the show.
Oh yeah, right. He doesn't.
I'm
never
excited.
Do that.
This is Adrienne Barbeau. This is not one of the other broads. This is somebody special to me. I remember watching her in Maud and having a nervous breakdown when she was a belly dancer, dancing.
I remember that too.
And I thought to myself, are you really gay, Ron? You know, there is something happening to you that gay men don't get over women like that. And I never forgot it. Well, my friends and I, the next day, we all went out and said, oh my God, that Adrienne Barbeau, she is the hottest thing in the world. Oh my God, guys were swooning, drooling, wishing they could marry you, be with you, meet you, whatever. You were a sensation. Now, question I want to get to.
No.
Then you're going to have the floor,
Yeah,
Jimmy.
do you notice how that he keeps going on and on and more,
because I'm interesting, you're not.
No, it's not true.
No, listen. Did B. Arthur encourage that dance sequence back then when it was totally shocking, as she did in Golden Girls with most of the series and the subject matter? B. Arthur, I think, was not afraid to be a first at anything. Am I correct?
I've never, that question has never come up. B was it, I've never thought of her as a trailblazer, except that we were involved in a show that was so socially significant. What B was the penultimate professional and brilliant actress, as everybody agrees, you know, and comedian. And what was most important to her was the quality of the work we were doing, to the point where if you know, when we would have our table read, and she was the first one to say, you know, this joke might be funnier if Adie said it, or if Conrad said it, or Bill said it. She was so giving, and it was all about the work. So if she thought that the dance was gonna, you know, garner some notoriety or just works for the show, she would never have said anything.
It was way ahead of its time, that dance. When Jane Russell made The Outlaw, they went crazy over her 36B bosom, which she told me that's all she was, a 36B. And the world went nuts because she showed cleavage, okay? Henceforth, or after that, women were not allowed to show cleavage. They put a flower there, or they put something to hide the cleavage. When you danced that dance, there was no flowers, there was nothing. And that was really provocative for the day. Today, we'd look at it and go, yeah, so what, big deal. You know, today it's nothing because women go naked dancing. So, but back then it was a shockaroo. I met B here when she did the Gay Pride Parade in Palm Springs. I didn't have a chance to interview her because you couldn't get near her. All the girls, the gay guys were jumping all over her like jumping jacks. The few minutes I got out of her was, this broad knew what she was talking about.
Yes, she did. That she did. She certainly did.
No baloney, no hullabaloo, no phony schmony. This broad told it just like it was. And that's why I love B. Arthur.
Yes.
You know, my very good friend Stan Zimmerman wrote for Golden Girls.
Yes.
And you know Stan Zimmerman?
Yes.
I love Stan. He's one of my dearest friends. And he has told me so many stories about all of the cast. Interesting. Anyway, I'm going to give you to Jimmy.
I want to talk a few minutes.
But wait a minute. I want to end it with this.
You're not going to end it. You're going to come back and talk. You're going to let me ask one question, and then you're going to come back.
I may drop dead from her. I can't help it. I'm going to do this for you. I'm sending you a kiss, and thank you so much for all the fun that you have brought into my life when I watch your work. I am sincerely, truly, honestly a great fan of yours. That's a kiss for you, honey.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And when we're all finished, Jimmy, I need you to send me Ron's email address, because unfortunately, or fortunately for me, my memoir in paperback or in hardbound is sold out. But I will send you an ebook. Do
Oh,
you
perfect,
would you like
perfect.
Oh, but you
to
can't
read
sign.
Perfect.
You can't sign an
I
ebook.
can't
It's okay.
sign it, but
Yeah,
if
read
Well,
it.
you
can I buy you a book somewhere and I'll mail it to you? You sign it and send it back to me
you might
Oh,
be able to
I
find
might be able to
one.
find one on eBay.
on eBay. I bet.
You
I'll
might
look.
be- yeah.
I'll look, but in the meantime, I'll
You know
still
what?
send
When
you.
I go to visit Laney, because Laney Kazan doesn't live far from you. So when I go to visit Laney, I'll just drop the book off you, sign it, and
Okay.
that's it. All right. Good enough. Good deal.
All right, my turn. Here we go. First of all, everybody in the chat room is going crazy. There's all the guys are saying how you were their like crush all their whole lives growing up. My family was very big. My mom was a big B. Arthur Maud fan, so I was younger. I'm younger than Ron, so like I was younger when, but we used to always watch it because we only had one TV and that's what we had to watch. So it was very interesting. But I actually met you. I'm friends with Chris Rowe and Malcolm McDowell, and I met you at Spooky Empire. At Spooky Empire, I used to live in Florida.
Which is that, was that Orlando? Which city?
Yes, it's in Orlando. That's in Orlando. And I have all kinds of pictures with you, which I should have shared with everybody since you were coming on. But you were a pleasure then, and I didn't make any snarky, weird remarks. So you loved me.
my remark was quite innocent. No, seriously, I don't want anyone out there to think it was vulgar, coarse, or dirty.
Yeah, it
It was no, it wasn't.
Okay, anyway, my
was
turn.
a cute
It's supposed to be my turn, remember?
Yeah, but not when you say what you said about my remark. It's really not.
Okay, so first thing we have to bring up real quick, I want to talk a little bit about some of your a few of the things that you've done in your history that everybody loves so much and brag a little for you. But before we do that, we did meet you because we were promoting For the Love of Jesse, your new film. David Maccabee directed and wrote it with Curtis Schlarbaum, and it stars Randy Wayne, which Ron just did a horror movie with Randy Wayne. Clown Fear.
I loved him. He's a great guy.
Yes, For the Love of Jesse just came out. I've got two others. One other that was just released, which is a golf comedy starring Dan Lauria.
Oh, cool!
And very funny. And another short horror film that was just has started making the circuit. And another one that I'm excited about that was just chosen for the Fantasia.
Big film festival. Big film
festival. Unfortunately, it's all going to be online this year. But yes, starting with The Love of Jesse, which is not a horror film.
Yes, not a horror film. It's a drama. It's a beautiful story.
You mentioned Randy in a film with me. Now I have to tell what it is, otherwise people wonder. The film is titled The Big Friggin' Rat.
No, it's not. He's in Clown Fear.
Oh, well, it's another.
He did a rat movie too, though, that hasn't come out yet, called The Big Freaking Rat.
Right. So he was in Clown Fear with me. I forgot which movie I was in. But anyway, hey, I'm 80 years old. I'm lucky I know where the toilet is, you know? Hey, when did you get to be 80, Adrienne? It's no walk in the park.
There, Ron.
No, not really, but it's no walk in the park. Trust me, I have to think before I speak, which is an impossibility.
Oh, also, I'm supposed to. Eileen Shapiro is in the chat room, and she just sent me a text message to make sure I say hello from her. So you remember Eileen? So say hi to Eileen real quick so she can be included.
Hi, Eileen.
There you go. All right. So
Eileen is one of our closest and dearest and best friends, and she's a delightful lady. And I'm so happy she got rid of the color hair, and now she's a blonde, and she looks young and sexy.
So hold on. So I want to talk about, before we talk about the movies, I want to talk a little bit about your voice work, because people in the chat room were writing the first time they had heard of you. These are younger people, you know, whereas like in Batman, I think Batman, you did some voice work, and I actually just got cast for my first voice work thing. I've never done it before. So tell us a little bit about, like, how did you go from the acting to the voice thing, and how is that different for you?
Well, way back in 1984, I had just had my first son, Cody Carpenter, and I was approached, and I didn't want to work full time, you know, while Cody was little, and I was approached by an agent who had heard me on $20,000 Pyramid. And she called and she said, you know, I think you've got a great voice for not cartoons, for commercials and animation and things like that. So I started out as early as 84, I think, was when I first started doing commercials and, you know, individual animation things. And then it must have been in the late 80s or early 90s, because Batman was released in the 90s, I just got a call to come in and audition for the role of Catwoman for Batman. And
that is so cool.
And they hired me. And so since then, I've done a lot. And what I do now, and the reason I won't be able to stay with you much more past another half hour or so, is I do video describing for the blind.
Oh, cool. Wow.
That's wonderful. That's great.
I really, really enjoy. And so, you know, if you're watching your television and it happens to be one of the series that I do, and you use the SAP channel or the SAP button on your TV, you will hear my voice or someone's voice describing what's going on screen in between the dialogue for people who are visually challenged.
I love it.
That's very good. Questions now we have to get to, because people want me to ask you. And if I don't, they're going to be pissed off if I don't. Are you married? How many children do you have? And where are your children and what do they do?
I am divorced. I have 3 children. My older son, Cody Carpenter, is a very well-known, well-respected, successful composer, musician. He just finished, well, it's been about a year. Well, no, he and his dad and his dad's godson, his dad is John Carpenter, and Daniel Davies just finished scoring the new Halloween movie that will be coming out later this year. They scored the last one.
It was great. The last one was excellent.
Yes, it was.
I freaking
the music was great.
The music was great and the movie was great, and it's the biggest opening, I think, or the most successful movie with a lead female over 50, in a zillion years.
That's great.
So I loved it. I thought it was terrific.
And and when Cody's not performing or creating, when he's not composing, he's a Japanese linguist. He's
like a genius.
Yeah. And so he lives in Japan whenever he can. Right now he's in LA because he's been working. So that's my older boy. And then I have 2 twins, 23 years old twins. William Van Zandt just graduated from Brown a year ago, and he is on his way to being a very successful record producer. He's producing hip hop artists.
Good for him.
And doing quite well. And fortunately for me, he's got his studio here in my house. So he's here all the time. And his brother Walker is just finishing at the Fashion Institute in Los Angeles. He designs men's street clothes. And he has his
good.
Tell him one line of clothing, Mine Until Morning, MOURNING. He's got that on the website, and he's still finishing up his education.
I love that.
Please tell him to design some elegant, glamorous clothing for us men to wear.
They don't do that for streetwear.
Listen. Adrienne remembers back in the 60s, 50s, we wore beautiful clothes for streetwear. We didn't go out with hats backwards and ripped T-shirts and shorts and dirty sneakers. We would be so embarrassed. I wouldn't go to New York City in a pair of jeans if you shot me when I was young. I got dressed in a suit to go to shopping.
The reason how I broke into entertainment was as a clothing designer. I made all one-of-a-kind clothes. I dressed Elton John and Madonna. I did the costume design for Too Fast, Too Furious. I stopped doing it many years ago, but it was fabulous. That's how I dressed everybody, and that's how I became friends with the horror community, because I would go to conventions and give them clothes and ask them if I could take pictures, and then I would get them to come on the show, and that's how we built the show originally.
That's fantastic.
So like I love it. And as far as the music thing, like I got named the #1 music publicist in the United States like a year and a half ago. So like I'm big into both of those things, and I think they're terrific. And I think that
So go back to design.
hang on, wait a second. And so your kids are like geniuses though. Like one of them studies in Japan, the other one goes to Brown. I mean Brown, like it's hard as hell to get into Brown.
He was
Okay. Next question, Adrienne. Dun, 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 dun. If you met the right guy, would you marry again?
I wouldn't marry again. I'd love to meet the right guy. I don't need to be married again, but I'd love to have I'd love to have someone to end my life with and go traveling if we can.
Yeah, but what if he insisted
Never
on
traveling
marrying you?
again.
What if he wants to
And,
marry you? What if he's very, really, really rich? So he's not after you for bucks. So he's really, really rich. You can have.
really rich doesn't really appeal to me, Ron. Really rich. It doesn't really appeal to me.
No. What I meant was, if you're afraid that a man might marry you for what he could get out of you, which is
No. That's never crossed my mind.
never crossed your mind.
good.
Okay, good.
Crossed
But
my mind.
so what have you got to get? I mean, I wanted to marry Jimmy, and I said to Jimmy, "Listen, I'm no backstreet jerk. I'm not going to be your trick." And that's it. I want to be married. I want to be decent. I mean, I've been married all my life. You know, I have 2 children. I was married 16 years to a very beautiful New York model. And then I had another partner for 46 years who died of pancreatic cancer. So I've been married.
I'm new, only 9 years.
We're 9 years. So I've been married all of my life since 19. I wouldn't know how to be single. And you know what? I wouldn't want to be single because I see my single friends, what they're going through with the jerks that are out there. Forget about it.
Well, there is that. I mean, I don't go through that because I just don't, I don't meet anybody. But what I mean is, it would be lovely to have a companion.
There you go.
I agree.
Whether or not marriage enters into it, that's not. That's
Jane Russell always said to me, the Lord made everything in twos. And she believed that. And I believe what she said also.
All right, hang on. I got to do, because there's all kinds of fans in the chat room also. First of all, you guys, I'm going to do some bragging. So here's some of the things that you've seen her in. I like the horror stuff because I'm a horror fan. But we've got Back to School. That's Rodney Dangerfield, you guys. The Thing, Swamp Thing with Escape from New York, The Cannonball Run, which is a great movie from my youth. The Fog. She was on every major television show possible for the last many years. I don't want to give a number that doesn't makes her sound old when she's so young.
She's not old.
And she's fabulous. And some of the people that she's worked with, and I put this list together because some of these people have been on our show, and also because Ron's a Turner Classic Movie guy, he will like this list. So here's a few of the people that she's had the great opportunity to work with. Louis Jourdan. That's
I knew Louis. I went to a party at his house.
Ray Wise. Hang on. Ray Wise. Ray Wise has been on our show. David Hess has been on our show. Kurt Russell, Ernest Borgnine, Donald Pleasance, Harry Dean Stanton, Tom Atkins has been on our show. Burt Reynolds, Roger Moore, Farrah Fawcett, Dom DeLuise, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Jackie Chan, Peter Fonda, Jamie Lee Curtis, Janet Leigh, John Houseman, Hal Holbrook. I didn't know you were married to John Carpenter. I must live under a rock.
Yeah.
One of the greatest horror directors in the history of movies and stuff.
Yes,
and I didn't even know that I wrote down that you got to work with him, and I didn't know you were married to him. So now I feel like an idiot. But those are some of the few people that you've been on. And then you just did a movie. I don't think it's come out yet. Lance Henriksen's my favorite actor. He's a friend. You did Bring Me the Head of Lance Henriksen, which I can't wait till it comes out. Even if it's the dumbest movie ever, I will have to have it because I think it sounds hilarious, and I love all the people who did cameos in it. And you did another movie called Exorcism at 60,000 Feet with Lance Henriksen, Bill Moseley, and Kelly Maroney are friends of ours. And the guy who did the special effects, Joe Castro, is a very good friend of ours.
One of my best, dearest friends. I love Joe. Joe Castro is my best friend.
Is that movie good? Do we need to go watch it? Did you enjoy it? Was it fun? It's supposed to be a horror comedy, right?
A spoof.
Yes. Yeah.
Joe said it was a spoof.
It's sort of Airplane meets The Exorcist.
I love it.
Now, Burt Reynolds was a very good friend of mine for years because of Lee Winkler. Do you know Lee Winkler of Global?
Oh my God, Ron. We'll have to talk at another time.
Lee Winkler was my dearest friend because his wife, Perry Winkler, at the time, was my best friend for 100 years. In fact, she's going to celebrate her 99th birthday next month. So Lee Winkler has passed away, but Lee and I were like brothers. I adored Lee so much. And Bert, of course, was with Sally Fields at the time. Then he was with Dinah Shore. So I met all of them. Out of all of them, the one that he truly loved was Stella Stevens. Not Stella Stevens. Stella, the Swedish actress, the blonde. Not Stella. Stevens. Something Stevens. She committed suicide. You remember? The beautiful blonde Stevens. Inga Stevens. Do you remember Inga Stevens?
I know the name. Bert and I dated for, maybe 4 or 5 months.
I know that. I know everything. I know everything about Bert.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm definitely going to look
Meanwhile-
for a copy of your book because I went to here's how our 6 degrees of separation is. Burt Reynolds' brother was my high school football coach. And so Burt Reynolds used to come to school and hang out on the bleachers with all of us and just tell stories, which he didn't tell us any about you. So
No, I used to see Bert and Sally up at Perry and Lee's house up in Truesdale Estates. On Sunday, they would have, I'm sure you might have gone to one, I missed you, but they had a Sunday brunch all the time by the pool. And Sally adored him, but the one that loved him the most was Brenda Vaccaro. Because when they broke up, Brenda was asking everybody that she met, where's Bert? Who's he with? Can I find him? She was stalking him. Poor Brenda. I love Brenda Vaccaro. She's a neighbor of yours, I guess.
In Studio City?
Well, she's the next one over, Van Nuys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so is Craig Head. He lives there. We have a lot of our friends that live where you live in your little neck of the woods. In fact, Jimmy, I'm having difficulty now at 80 with the heat here in Palm Springs. I get heat exhaustion and heat stroke easily. So Jimmy and I may have to leave Palm Springs, and now we're looking in Sherman Oaks or Van Nuys to move because it's a cooler temperature. And I'm going to miss Palm Springs because I love it.
So I have a bucket list question for you because you've worked with everybody. You're constantly working all the time, which I want to, number one, kudos to you for not having some actresses have these huge gaps, but you're constantly working and in demand. And I understand why, because you're so talented. So bucket list, if you could, who haven't you worked with yet that you think, oh my God, I would really love to get an opportunity to work with this male and female? And then my other question that I like to ask is, if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made, what movie would you have liked to have been in?
As far as the actor goes, she's going to say Ron Russell. We may work together, my darling. We may, because Thomas Churchill is a good friend of mine, and now I'm going to tell Church, call Adrienne for one of the movies. He's got a bunch coming up that we're going to be in.
He has to be in her bigger ones, though. She's not going to do those.
No, Churchill is no schlub. Churchill's look, the big rat. Everybody's fighting over it right now to distribute it.
You're not supposed to talk about it.
I'm not supposed to talk about that, so I never said it.
It all comes down to the words on the page,
There you go.
I've taken things my agent said, why are you doing that? It's 4 days work, really low budget. I thought the script was just perfect. It was a 22-minute short film called Alice Jacobs is Dead, which went on to win San Diego Comic-Con Best Film and Chicago Best Actor and Actress, and I just thought that the writing was exceptional. And so you never know why someone takes a role.
No,
I took the role in Russia because I wanted to go to Russia.
There you go. That's perfect.
I said to Debbie Reynolds one day, I said, Debbie, why are you all over the place? Don't you ever get tired? Every place I go, I look, you're here, you're there, you're in opening of garage doors, any kind of opening. She said, Ron, if I don't let them know I'm here, they'll think I'm dead. And that's a very intelligent comment, because a good friend of ours came on our show who I love a lot. Jimmy helps you with his name, the Italian actor, the guy from Brooklyn, the one that went out with Lainey Kazan.
Oh, Paul Sorvino.
Paul Sorvino.
Oh, yes.
Love Paul Sorvino.
Yes.
And he moved to Pennsylvania and bought a farm. And I said, gee, we have a place in Pennsylvania. We have to catch up, Paul. He said, I'm not there anymore. I said, what happened to the farm? He said, I sold it. Why? He said, because I couldn't get work. I had to move back to town, so people saw me and offered me parts. And Savino now is working his buns off. So, you out of sight, out of mind. There's no question about it. And that's why Adrienne has to be out there doing all she can to get people to say,
She's
hey,
working
yeah,
all the time.
let's get Adrienne Barbeau.
So hold on, go back, though. You have to go back now. Who's your bucket list? a male and female actor that you think would be fun to work with, and what movie would you have liked to be in? Like he wants you to be like in Cleopatra or something.
No, I want her to be in an epic. I would love to see her as a ruler. She's Armenian. She had my friend Susan Farrell through marriage. She was an Armenian. She looked like Cher. She was a gorgeous girl, and she had that same exotic beauty that everybody would faint from. Long jet black hair, those eyes. Why the Armenians have those eyes, I'll never know, but they do. Arabics don't even have those eyes. Armenian women have exquisite eyes.
So hold on, let her go. Go ahead. Who's your answer?
Well, it's funny. This wasn't something I had ever aspired to, but you keep mentioning Jane Russell. And when John Carpenter and I first got together, he wanted to do, wasn't it Gentlemen Prefer Blondes that Jane?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
He wanted to do a remake of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with me doing the Jane Russell role. I've never been a person who had a bucket list like that. I always loved the role that Jane Fonda did in Clute.
Good movie.
Wonderful performance, wonderful movie.
And I think Jeff Bridges is one of the greatest actors we've got. And even this many years later, when I'd love to work with Jeff, but I never think about things like
Oh my gosh, that's a good one though. Nobody's ever said Jeff Bridges, and I love Jeff Bridges.
I love Jeff. Oh my God.
He's an actor who changes his look all the time. He's always doing something different. And I like that in an actor. Years ago, Cary Grant, who I loved and adored, and I always wanted to be Cary Grant. Didn't do it, didn't make it, but I wanted to be. And Cary Grant only played Cary Grant. But we loved him that way. We didn't want him any other way but Cary Grant. Jeff Bridges plays characters, as Meryl Streep does, as quite a few actors do. I would love to play characters. Would you like to play characters, Adrienne?
I do play characters.
I mean, way out from what you are. I mean, a very ugly old lady with a gray wig and eyeglasses who's a spinster who lives in a haunted house, let's say. Would you accept that role?
I have played that.
You played that?
I have played that.
Are you kidding?
You should see me in it's the 6th season of Sons of Anarchy, and the episode is called Something Invaded. I can't remember what the episode is called. It's one of the most vile, vicious characters you could imagine. I played Venus's mother. Did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
I did. I loved it.
Venus is Walter Goggins.
Mm-hmm.
Did I play his mother? Yes, I played his mother. It's just one episode, but vile. But going back to going back to Swamp Thing, I've played real bitches. I did a film with Tobin Bell, and oh my gosh, my name.
I love Tobin Bell.
Tobin and I played an incestuous brother and sister on Criminal Minds about 3 years ago, I guess.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up because I love Criminal Minds. I thought I've seen them all, I love Tobin Bell, and the Saws franchise before it got stupid at the end was one of my favorite Saw franchises, and I have the actual pink pig that they used in Saw 3 in the movie. I have the actual one because I like to collect stuff. Do you have an action figure? Do you have any action figures of any of your characters you've ever played? Is there like a Funko Pop or anything of you?
Well, there certainly is of Catwoman. But I think there is, and now there is one of Swamp Thing. I don't know if it's me. I can't remember. But I sign a lot of Catwomen pops.
Oh, that's so cool.
And there's
I'm gonna have to go get it. I collect all. I have an office filled with action superheroes and horror movie memorabilia. And anybody who comes on the show who has an action figure, I immediately go out and buy it for my collection.
Yeah, but there's not an inch of that room that he could possibly put in.
There is a wonderful collectible from The Fog. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a bunch of it's cotton. It's a bunch of cotton. It's the fog.
Oh.
That's an easy one. I can make it for him later.
Yeah, he can make that.
Look out for that one. But there is something from, I think it's from Swamp Thing. I don't know if it's my character, but I know I've been signing a lot of them.
I love that. I'm gonna I'll Google it on eBay and see. I'm gonna find it on eBay.
Adrienne, how are you holding up with this "we're locked up" stuff?
You know, I've been very fortunate.
Not working and not working.
Well, I have been working. I've been very fortunate. I am able to do my video describing. I just did Mrs. America for Netflix, and I just did it. Oh, I'm doing the. Well, it hasn't dropped yet. I'm doing another series for CBS. And a lot of movies and things like that. I'm able to do my video describing from the house because my son has a complete recording studio here. So they send me the script and they send me the video, and we record it here and then send it back to them, and they put it all together. So I've been able to do that.
That's awesome.
I have 2 dogs that I get out and get walking with every day. And
wait, what kind of dogs do you have?
I've got a Siberian Husky and a Golden Retriever.
Oh, beautiful.
Who was a rescue. But I'm able
We have 3 rescues.
Do you?
Rescue those dogs.
I'm able to meet with 1 or 2 friends, and then I go and meet with my son Cody. And we walk, on opposite sides of the street with our masks on, but that keeps us going. And, I ended up, I've got a big house that needs cleaning. Oh.
That's Astro.
He's our little one. He's only like 8 pounds.
Oh.
Adrienne, I just received the new laws of making film. And I wanted to cry. I thought it was, I'm in a shot. I film now, and I think in 3 weeks I'm in a movie called Clam Motel 2. And the scene I'm in is only 2 other actors and myself. And we are not allowed to socialize off the set. We must wear masks when we're not working. We cannot go to the food wagon. We cannot, what the hell are they, nuts? This is not even fun anymore.
Yes, but Ron, dying isn't fun either.
No, I know that, but all they have to do is take our temperature, and that should.
They're going to be doing that too.
I know that, but that should say that we could at least socialize.
No, because you can be asymptomatic. You can have no symptoms.
True.
And have the virus and be passing it to someone else,
right.
Which is,
so
why
it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun on the set anymore. Now it's
only going to be for a while, and eventually, another year from now, it'll be better.
I've been in the business 58 years, and I've made a lot of film and TV and stuff, and I enjoyed all of the fun that was off camera with some of the stars that I won't mention, who were quite risque and funny. And as you
can't do that now anymore, anyway.
I know that. I know that. That's what's sad. I remember a film some years ago that I was on, and one of the young girls was quite endowed and sexy and blonde and beautiful. And when she came on the set, all the guys were like flirting, whistling, and carrying on, and she loved it. Today, if you do that, they arrest you.
You're done.
They sue you.
You can't do it. Let's move on.
So why are women putting in fake breasts? You're putting on these beautiful big breasts, and then if a guy comments on them, you smack them and sue them. I don't get it.
Anyway, well, we're gonna not go there and go. So hold on. So everybody, listen. Adrienne is because I know she's got to go in a minute. I told her
all the new movies coming out.
I told her 30 minutes, and so we're on.
Hey,
for a lot
Adrienne,
longer.
listen up. We're gonna have lunch when I get to town, and we have a lot to talk. I'm serious. I'll take it to a nice deli, the one on Ventura Boulevard. I love it. You know the deli, the Jewish jet? Yeah, right. I love that place.
Or Arts. Jerry's or Arts.
Arts. The best chopped chicken liver in the world. Anyway, we'll go and have lunch, and we'll talk about Lee and everybody, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
So listen
and also
up.
You being in Jimmy's movie.
So listen up, you guys. You can follow Adrienne Barbeau on Twitter. She's at Barbeau, ABARBEAU. We had B Claudia join us in the chat room real quick, and can you just say hi to B? I always have everybody say hi to B because she's like our biggest thing. So say hi, B Claudia. There you go.
I'm more often on Instagram.
And what is your Instagram?
A lowercase Adrienne _ lowercase Barbeau. I am more often on Instagram, and my Instagram is hooked up to Facebook, so sometimes I'm on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter as often. I'm not on Twitter as often. I might be when time comes to promote, like this last film that just came out, The Eagle and the Albatross. I try and do everything I can for the producers in terms of if I want to promote the film, and I do want to promote the For the Love of Jesse and The Eagle and the Albatross. And
is The Eagle and the Albatross out already?
yes, that's the golf comedy. That's with Dan Lauria.
Oh, got it.
Adrienne, are there going to be any red carpets for any of your movies? I mean, or my movies? Are they going to do red carpets anymore?
I don't know. I actually was just asked to audition for something like a big, I think it was sort of like a disaster movie. And they were talking, one of the articles in Variety or something was talking about how they were going to have the red carpet in cars and things like that.
In cars?
Yeah, I don't know.
How are you going to show your beautiful gowns? All the girls come in these
I have never
beautiful gowns.
taken part in that part of the industry. I'm not big on going to, premieres and things like that.
Well, if all these beautiful girls are going to be in cars, they better play Donna Summer's toot toot, tweet tweet, bad girls. Talking about those bad girls, because that's what it's going to look like.
So what was the name? Well, give us the name of the movie again one more time. Oh, we have For the Love of Jesse, and what's the other one?
For the Love of Jesse and The Eagle and the Albatross, which is streaming on Amazon, and it's available as in fact, I just got an email from the producer this morning saying Amazon had sold out of the DVD 3 times already.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome.
And it's on Apple Play or Apple TV and Fandango and Google Play. Is that one?
Yes.
It's on all the streaming channels.
There you go. Okay,
and,
so
the one that's coming up for Fantasia is called Unearth. And that's with Mark Blucas. Have you worked with Mark Blucas?
No, we haven't, but I love him.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful. And that one it is in the horror genre, but it's about fracking. So it's worth, I think it's going to be worth seeing.
Anything with you in it is worth seeing, according to my Facebook page. You've got to see what people came in and said about you.
They love you.
Everybody love you. They love the fog. They know that you're a great actress. I almost dropped dead. I thought, I hope they remember who she is, because today they don't remember anything. If you're not yesterday in a movie, they say, who? Like I was doing a lecture at a college and I mentioned Jane Russell. They just had a blank face. I said, no one knows who Jane Russell is. And they all shook their head no. I said, you know who Barbara Streisand is? And the kid in front of me said, no, but I heard of her. So,
my kids are 23,
what the hell is going on? We work our asses off to become famous, then we get to be 50 and nobody knows who we are anymore. What is this shit?
Anyway, so thank you, Adrienne, so much. You guys follow her on everything. Watch all her movies.
My website is also abarbeau.com.
Okay, abarbeau.com for the website, you guys. We want to thank you for coming on the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Continued success. We love you, and we think you're fabulous. And have a great and go have fun recording now.
And we'll see you
very much.
Bye. We'll see you at lunch.
Okay.
That's a date.
Bye.
Bye, sweetheart. What a nice girl.
Hey, everybody. That's Adrienne Barbeau. She's fabulous.
She's a nice girl.
Absolutely
Very nice.
Just wonderful. So we